Are you a real estate agent and you're wondering whether or not you want to join Keller Williams Realty or eXp Realty? Well, in this video, we're going to break down the commission splits between Keller Williams and eXp. We're also going to break down the culture between the two, the support, and how much money you actually bring home. The difference between Keller Williams Realty and eXp Realty is going to be bigger than ever in 2025 going into 2026, which can make a big difference in your real estate career. So let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm Chris, your real estate problem solver. I've been a real estate investor for 20 years and I turned real estate agent. Now, some of the investors kind of fault me for that, but you know what? That was probably one of the better decisions that I've made in my real estate career. So let me tell you about my story and then you can decide which realty company you want to go with. Now, to start with, I started out at Keller Williams myself personally. Reason being is because the market changed. The market got really heavy on the retail side, which means real estate investors who wanted a discount, who wanted to find the great deals, they got really thin. The cheese moved, as they say. So I had to move where the cheese was, and that was in the retail market. So I got my real estate agent's license because Keller Williams at that time was offering to pay for the classes to get your real estate license, and then all I had to do was just pay for the post exam. In that, I joined Keller Williams Realty out of loyalty because they paid for my classes. So that was great. But once I got in, I realized that until I got a certain number of transactions completed, I was stuck at a 60-40 commission split, which that's not a whole lot. Now, of course, once I got through those transactions, I got my 80-20, and under certain conditions, you can get a 90-10. But they did not account for any of the transactions or any of the deals that I had done for the last 20 years as a real estate investor. So even though I have plenty of experience, it didn't count with them. With eXp, I showed them the transactions that I've done of buying my own houses, rehabbing houses, and selling my own houses as an investor, and they counted that, so I could slide right in. Otherwise, if you're a new real estate agent and you're coming into eXp Realty, they do have an onboarding and a support training that they require you to go through 3 transactions and then you get let loose. Now, Keller Williams Realty brokerage is a brick and mortar building. It's a traditional real estate office, just like most of the others. On the other hand, eXp Realty is 100% cloud-based and virtual. Now, the bonus that I did find out lately is eXp does have access to brick and mortar shared offices all over the country. So if you have to have an office that's not at your home, or you have to have a certain place to work, they have access to those offices that you can go in and do your business in those offices along with other realtors, other accountants, CPAs, CEOs. And since there's all different kinds of people that are in there, you can network with those people and turn them into clients. Now, as for the commission splits, when I joined eXp, I was at 80-20 immediately. And that's the way it is with all agents. All agents pay an 80-20 split. And then your next question is, well, do they have a cap? Well, of course they do. Keller Williams, when I was there, the cap was $18,000. eXp's cap is $16,000, which means once you reach your cap, you do no longer have an 80-20 split. Your commission split is now nothing. You get 100% of the commissions that you make off of each of your transactions. You simply pay the transaction and management fee of $85 per transaction, and that's it. At Keller Williams was pretty much the same way. You went from an 80-20 or a 90-10, and then once you capped, you got 100% of your compensation, and you still had to pay your office fees or whatnot. Okay, so now let's look at Keller Williams profit sharing versus eXp Realty's revenue share. Now, when I was at Keller Williams, I was there for probably about a year. And one thing that I did notice was when we went into the meetings for the award ceremonies and so forth, there were quite a few people that were getting some kind of an award for profit shares and so forth. but it wasn't that many, and I didn't know any of them. On the other hand, at eXp Realty, everybody has the potential to get profit sharing from the first time that you bring on a partner all the way through your career. Now, I didn't get too deep into the profit sharing at Keller Williams because, well, I didn't sign anybody up, and most of the realtors that I talked to didn't put much effort into it because it just wasn't worth their time. So, if you're interested in the profit sharing at Keller Williams Realty, then you might want to go ask one of the local brokers to explain how that works. If you're interested in the eXp Realty revenue share, then come talk to me. I can explain it all, and I have my upline that has more than enough knowledge to give you a full picture of how it works. Basically, when you partner with me at eXp, you're going to get all the training and all the benefits that I have from my upline, which is with the Wolfpack. Now, a lot of people have heard about the Wolfpack at eXp Realty because they are so big into training and support, and they have so many resources for marketing, transaction support, script writing, all that stuff. As a matter of fact, the Wolfpack is where I got a lot of my training for social media to make these YouTube videos for you. The big attraction about revenue share with the eXp Realty is that each time that you sign on an agent under you, every time they make a transaction close at the closing table, you get a small percentage of that transaction compensation from the 20% that they paid into eXp Realty. And I've got another video that goes deeper into that to explain all about that. The basic outline is you can partner with other agents to come into eXp Realty, and their transactions, their commission splits goes to eXp Realty. Half of the 20% goes to eXp Realty, and the other half goes towards the revenue share. And once you sign on somebody under you, they can sign somebody and they can sign somebody, and the revenue share goes 7 tiers deep. And you have access immediately to the first 3 tiers. So if you sign on somebody, they sign on somebody, then they sign on somebody, you're going to get a piece of the pie from the transactions for 3 people down, and as many as you sign on directly under you. Now let's look at Keller Williams training and support versus eXp Realty. Now when I was at Keller Williams, we had a weekly training with a CP. We get on Zoom, we go through one thing or 2 things at a time, and then we also had people to talk to when we go into the office. The caveat to that is the people that you're talking to and the people that are training you are in your backyard. If you're in the same upline or downline, like in eXp Realty, then of course you're going to help them as much as possible. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more here in a second. But with Keller Williams, they would be glad to help me with a lot of the first level, maybe some of the second level training about marketing, about strategies, about finding leads, but they never would get too deep into it. Reason being is because I'm in their backyard. They don't want to create their own competition. On the other hand, at eXp Realty, the first person that I signed on under, my sponsor, is in Tennessee. My co-sponsor, which there is a program for that now, so ask me about the co-sponsor program. The co-sponsor can be anywhere in the United States or actually anywhere in the world. So I get all the benefits from my upline who is in the Wolfpack, and I can get benefits from my immediate co-sponsor if they are in another lineage, we'll say. So I've got the benefits from 2 different sides, plus I have the entire world of eXp agents that are not in my backyard that want to see me succeed and help me grow my business. And it doesn't hurt them, it actually helps them, because everybody who is at eXp is part owner of the eXp Realty company. Let me explain that. Now, one thing that I noticed that Keller Williams Realty did not have was any kind of ownership. When you get your compensation, you get your commission check, you give them their piece, and that's it. If you leave, you get a pat on the back and say good luck. At eXp, the revenue share helps you as a supplemental income, but there's also another tier of income that you can create. When you make your first transaction as an agent in eXp Realty, you're going to get $200 in stocks from the company. As a matter of fact, I got an email from Morgan Stanley saying, you have a new stock account set up by eXp Realty. Come in and help finish setting it up. I go in, I got $200 sitting there. Then, if I sign up under somebody underneath me and I'm their sponsor, their first transaction, they get $200 in stocks. I get $400 in stocks. So everybody wins. And now that you are a owner of the business that you're in, don't you think you're going to try harder to make that business grow? Don't you think you're going to try harder to make sure that you make as much money as you can and grow your business, because that makes your stocks grow? And you multiply that times over 80,000 agents across the world. That's a pretty strong business model, don't you think? Now again, I've got another video that's going to explain all these stock options, and I'm going to touch on it a little bit here in a minute, but that's the basic understanding of it. All right, so let's talk about the culture and the community of Keller Williams Realty versus eXp Realty. Now, of course, when I joined Keller Williams Realty, I was amongst some of the best top agents in my area for producing and selling houses, listing and buying, investing, so on and so forth. The one thing that I did notice was the top agents didn't really want to spend too much time with me. Of course, they would have a little conversation. I would get a few nuggets out of them, but ultimately they were deeply involved in making their own money and making sure that their business grew. At eXp Realty, as soon as I joined eXp Realty, of course, I felt lost because there's nobody in my immediate area that I could really talk to. So I had my sponsor who was in Tennessee, but I also had other people throughout my upline that I could talk to that were not in this area, but they were easy to get a hold of through emails and phone numbers. And so far, I haven't had any issues with getting a hold of anybody. If I couldn't reach them, they would call me back. So the culture was a little bit more responsive when it came to me needing help. The big ticket was that really impressed me was when I was at Keller Williams Realty, we had one broker and you had to contact them for just about everything that pertained to company issues. If they were not available or if they were busy out selling houses, then you just had to wait. At eXp Realty, we have a central office in the capital. I'm in Georgia, so it was be in Atlanta. We have one managing broker, but we have 3 to 4 brokers that monitor the brokerage hotline. And any one of them is going to be on call all the way up through, I've called them as late as 6 o'clock and they call me back. So as long as I call within normal business hours, somebody's monitoring the phones to answer my questions and steer me in the right direction. On top of that, there is a separate department that strictly talks about and works with the transaction side of listing and buying. So when you get a house under contract, whether you're the buyer or the seller, if there's anything going on with your compensation, or if there's any questions about how you're getting paid, or how the splits are going to be, or if you're working with a referral platform, how the referral platform is going to get paid, the transaction office can take care of all that, and they too are very responsive. Then one more tier to your support is the compliance team. So new agents, if you don't know whether or not you can check dual agent, if you're not sure if you can do designated agent, if you're not sure where your signature is supposed to go, if you're not sure which contract that you need to use on a specific deal, compliance team can get you through that part, and they are on a call center as well, so you can always get a hold of somebody. And then to wrap it up, we have the cloud-based brokerage, which is all wrapped up in one central platform called eXp World. Once you go into eXp World, you have access to actually more training and more support than you'll never know what to do with. I haven't even touched a quarter of what's available. But just to break it down, they have the brokerage section, which gives you links to the brokerage for all 50 states. If you're international, they've got the links to the brokerage office for all the countries and all the states and all the provinces that are in the eXp's purview. If you need training, they have over 80 live Zoom calls training people every week. Everything from the Skyslope digital platform. Now, if you're at Keller Williams Realty, you're going to be using the platform called Command. Here we use Skyslope. And that holds all your transactions, all your listing, all your forms, and that's where you're going to upload all your documents and get your digital signatures for all your transactions, which compliance team has access to. So they look at all your paperwork on the back end and they'll guide you through making sure that all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. Then in eXp world, you can go to eXp University, which has a slew of training for marketing, for Facebook ads, doing all kinds of lead generation programs. As a matter of fact, there's over a dozen different lead generation programs that you can partner with to make your business grow even larger. All the training to help you create a systems where if you decide that you want to be a solo agent, you've got all the tools that you need to create a virtual world, to create the systems that you need. And if you want to stay being a solo agent, you can still handle all your chores in one central location and make it very easy. Which leads me to my next part. Technology and tools provided by Keller Williams Realty. All I really got that I can remember was Command. We also had an extensive library of videos to watch for training, but it was kind of difficult to navigate. It wasn't very well labeled. Well, when I went to eXp Realty, like I said, we had access to so many tools. I haven't even touched on all of them yet. And they have just released a new announcement that they are giving all their agents a choice of 3 different CRMs. You can use Close, you can use Lofty, or you can use BoldTrail. I started out at BoldTrail because that's all they had at the time that I signed on with eXp Realty. But since then, they've added the other 2 and they've given us 3 months to decide which one we want to get involved and get into, and then that becomes your CRM once you decide. And as a bonus, if you sign up or partner with somebody on your upline that has a value add, then you can get access to that for free. My sponsor has access to GoHighLevel, which is an advanced CRM that specializes in social media marketing. So I've really got access to 2 different CRMs, all because I'm underneath my sponsor and with eXp Realty. And since I'm under the Wolfpack, if you partner with me, you'll get access to the Wolfpack and all the social media training that they have available for YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Google My Business. Their extensive social media marketing is a big game changer when it comes to the real estate world. Now, before I mentioned about stocks and ownership, yes, when you get signed on with eXp Realty, you are going to become part owner of the company. At Keller Williams Realty, that's a franchise, and once you leave, that's all you get. With eXp Realty, when you do your first transaction, you get $200 in company stock, which makes you a part owner. If you sign somebody on under you as a new partner, then you get company stock for that as well. And the $16,000 cap I was talking about, if you cap your $16,000, you also get $400 in company stock. And if you make 20 deals past your cap, you become an icon agent. And then you get a whole nother level of company stock on top of that in all the $16,000 that you paid to cap out, they just gave back to you in company stock. So you're making money on your commissions. You're making money on partnering with new people to come into eXp Realty. You're making money on company stocks that you're given. And on top of that, if you make a transaction and you close, when you go to the closing table and you get your commission, if you decide to, you can option for 5% of your commission to go into your Morgan Stanley account and buy more company stock. So now you're building wealth from your commissions, from stocks, and from passive income on your downline as you sign people up to join eXp. And if something happens to you and you die, your revenue share is willable. You can pass it to your heirs, you can pass it to your spouse. And as long as they become an active agent with eXp Realty, they can continue to receive that revenue share forever. Now, that's not something that any other realty company that I know of offers. Yeah, I understand I'm going to be biased because I'm eXp Realty and I was Keller Williams, but there's a reason why I moved. And after watching this video, I kind of hope that you would see where the benefits really lie. So if you decide you want to get more information about eXp Realty, reach out to me and watch my next videos that explains more about the other benefits that eXp offers. And I'll talk to you then.